For quiz 2 practice, this will be solving different types of equations to find your solution to a quadratic. So for the first one, this problem here, x squared plus 6 equals 42, it has no parentheses. So we would follow these steps here. So if it has no parentheses, we either add or subtract first. So I see it's got a positive 6, so I need to do the opposite, which is subtract 6. And x squared equals 36. Number 2, step 2 says divide. Well, there's nothing in front of x squared to divide by besides 1. So I'm not going to divide. Number 3, take the square root of both sides. Okay, so we've got x by itself. It says put plus or minus on your answer. So the square root of 36 is plus or minus 6. Okay, in number 2, still it has no parentheses, so I'm going to follow these steps. So 1, I'm going to add or subtract. I'm going to go ahead and add 100 to both sides. So I have 25 x squared equals 0 plus 100 is 100. Step 2 says divide. So I can divide this time, so I'm going to divide by 25. And I have x squared equals 100 divided by 25 is 4. Okay, step 3 says take the square root of both sides. Okay, so that canceled out. Put plus or minus on your answer, and the square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. Okay, for number 3, since this problem has parentheses, we're going to use these steps right here. So step 1, it says square root both sides and then plus or minus on your answer. So down here in number 3, if I square root both sides, it cancels this out, and we're left with x minus 2. Then the square root of 16 is plus or minus 4. Because it said in step 1, put plus or minus on that answer. Okay, step 2 says add or subtract, and the goal is to add or subtract so that x is by itself. So if I want x by itself, I do the opposite of minus 2, I add 2. Okay, then in step 3, I rewrite this, so this would say 2 plus or minus 4, and then I branch it off, making 2 different answers. So I would say 2 plus 4 and 2 minus 4. And so that would give me 6 and negative 2. Number 4, set up the exact same way. It has parentheses, so I'm still going to use these steps here. So 1, square root both sides. And it says put plus or minus on your answer. So the square root of 81 is 9. Step 2, add or subtract to get x by itself. So here this is a positive 5, so I will subtract it. So x equals a negative 5 plus or minus 9. So I have negative 5 plus 9 and negative 5 minus 9. So this becomes a positive 4, and this would become a negative 14. So my 2 solutions are 4 and negative 14. Okay. For the last 2 problems, these are factor and solve problems, and you can see that both of those problems are just going to be x factor. Okay, for both of them. Okay, so for this one, 1 times 9 is 9, and we have to get to 10. So the factors of 9 are 1 and 9, 3 and 3. So 1 and 9 can add to be 10. So I would say x plus 1, x plus 9. Okay, so that's factored. Now, the new part of factoring is the solving component. So we put equal to 0, and we set each one of these expressions equal to 0. So x plus 1 equals 0, and x plus 9 equals 0. So here we subtract 1, and x is negative 1. Here I subtract 9, and x is negative 9. So my two solutions are negative 1 and negative 9. Okay, and then lastly, number 6. Again, this is just x factor. So 1 times negative 18 is negative 18. And we have to get to the middle number, which is a positive 3. So factors of 18. Which one of these can add or subtract to make a 3? And it would be 3 and 6. So I make the 3 negative because a 6 minus 3 is a positive 3. If you put small number first, big number second, these signs match on the bottom half of the x. Okay? So I have x minus 3 and x plus 6 equals 0. I set each expression equal to 0. And here I would add 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. Subtract 6. And x is negative 6. Making my two solutions 3 and negative 6.